So last week we dropped an episode about haunted Crystal River. And while we were in Crystal River, we actually went to an archaeological site that had some indigenous mounds there. And we said we were going to make a video about that. So that's what this video is, featuring some of those ceremonial and burial mounds that we visited, where we got some EMF activity. Was it paranormal? Was it not? We leave that to you to decide. But hopefully you'll enjoy this as we take you around and show you all the different mounds there. I actually found a mound here in our backyard. You know, ants are very industrious creatures, and it's kind of possible that the mounds that we have discovered all throughout America and around the world, how do we know that that wasn't something kind of like what ants were doing? Because people really don't know when it comes to history and all that stuff, do we? I mean, we really need a time machine to go back and tell us, because history is just one big mystery that we try to piece things together and figure out what happened. So maybe the indigenous people were building things like these ant colonies under the ground. And you know, I think I have heard of ant people. Are there cryptids called ant people? Could they still be around? This is Sand Burial Mound, known as Mound G. The burials located here shared little in common with those from the main burial complex on the other side of this plaza. The people buried here had no elaborate grave goods, but were laid to rest with shells, bone tools, and pottery. Radiocarbon dating suggests that this actually might be a little bit older, so it's one of the oldest parts of this site. And it's not that much earlier than the main burial complex. So people are wondering, why is there a difference between that one having more elaborate stuff and this one not having as much? And my answer would be maybe these people were of a lower status, so they didn't have as many goods. Just to give you an idea of just it's not a real high mound. You have to keep in mind that we're here in Florida, so things don't get real high. Of course, the main burial complex and ceremonial mound are a bit higher. They've got the handy dandy little K2 out here too, but it's so bright you can't really see. You want to see if that light is lit up?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have anyone out here with us that was buried out here? See any gators? We definitely have a bigger mound over here that's going to be coming up. There's a lot of mounds in this area, and what's interesting is when we were watching the video about the information here, is a lot of the indigenous people that were here either came down from or were in some kind of trading or something with the Ohio River Valley, and where are a lot of the other mounds in America in Ohio. So it's just interesting that you come down here and have these mounds here then.
Thank you.
Ooh, it looks like we're getting somebody to communicate with us. It's kind of hard to see on the light here, but...
No, it's not reacting to your phone now, right?
I don't think so.
We weren't close to it before.
No.
Can you please make that go off again?
We'd love to have you have that go off again.
Yeah, it was going all the way up to red.
There we go. Thank you. We appreciate
Wonderful.
you talking to us.
Wonderful. Thank you.
We came here to see the ceremonial sites that are here. Did you make some of the pottery that we've seen and leave behind the shells?
Hopefully that's able to be seen.
And I just want to make sure that everybody knows we are where there's absolutely no
There's
chance for
nothing
any
here.
electrical out here.
Thank you for communicating with us. We appreciate it. So you did create some of the pottery here? No. Did you live here? Or are you just passing through?
Were you buried here? Are you a spirit of the land?
Is there still anyone here?
Well, we might have had them go away.
It's hard to see with the sunlight. It's so
Yeah.
bright.
This mound, they're not sure if it was actually for a temple that was built on top of it or just a staging area, because as you can see, it is higher than the rest of the property, and so they're wondering, especially when the trees wouldn't have been here, would have been much smaller, that people who were in a lower area would have been able to see whatever kind of ceremony they might have been conducting up here. So imagine watching some kind of a speech or a sermon or something else being performed. Native peoples use this 12-foot high platform mound and the plaza or open space behind for rituals or festivals. This is another mound here at the site.
This one's taller.
And this is of course more rounded over. So you can see like the ones that are more ceremonial have a flat top, where these are more mounded up. And there's three kinds that would be out here. You'd have your trash mounds, your burial mounds, and then your ceremonial. And then here in the background you can see the Crystal River that they would have lived along. And this would have been towards the end of the BC era and the beginning of the AD era, when a lot of the Native Americans that would have been in this area would have been here. And they don't think that they have any ancestors, that they either just were died off or run off and merged with other tribes.
Look at them. Itty bitty. Like the size of my fingernail. I think it's a squirrel tree frog. Looks like a squirrel.
And this mound was actually the main burial complex. So this is mound C to F. So this is basically their cemetery. They would have buried their dead at this site 1,000 to 3,000 years ago. Contains the graves of people who were buried with gifts, and it shows that they would have had all different kinds of things. They had copper, and a lot of this copper would have had to come down from Michigan and Minnesota. That's why they think there was a big trading route that would come down through here.
The face is on this side, I think.
This is a carved stone slab. This is a kind of stone that you don't find here. They believe most of this is limestone, and it's called a stela. There are only 2 of them here at the site, and they had to have been brought here by someone. They're not sure exactly what they were put here for, if they were some kind of markers.
Marker
But
for the solstice.
this one, I believe, has a human carved into it. Human shape. So that's kind of how they're showing it. It's this face in the stone. Of course, it could be pareidolia, where you just see faces and things, but you can kind of see how it looks like a face there with the, I don't know if I can get my finger in here. You can see the head would be right there. This is leading up to the big ceremonial mound here. This is the tallest mound here. It's 30 feet. Whew, it's quite the climb. But a great view. This is the Crystal River. And so this mound would have looked down on the entire site. So you could see why this would have been a place that they probably would have built a temple, so that everybody could see. And there's an oak tree growing up here on top of it. Isn't that amazing?